Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is JD. Who's here with me?
It's Michelle.
It's Michelle in a snake shirt.
Yeah, it's my
It's a,
snake discovery shirt.
and
I
it's a pride rainbow.
Yeah, I went to a reptile zoo on my birthday, and I met a lot of reptiles, and I pet a lot of turtles, and I had a spiritual connection with an alligator, and there were some legless snakes that are a specific type of reptile, and one of them was named Legolas, and the other one was named Lieutenant Dan. And yeah, it was just a real good time, so I had to buy a t-shirt.
Mm, Um, now you just said a thing there. You
Which
said
one?
there were some legless snakes.
Yeah.
Aren't all snakes
Oh, legless
legless?
lizards. My bad. Legless lizards.
I was like,
They
what do you
get
mean?
confused for snakes.
Aren't all legless? Aren't all
Yes.
snakes? Like, okay, good. I thought
Yeah.
maybe I was
Legless
losing my
lizards.
mind.
I did watch The Good Dinosaur once and thought that I was on drugs though, because it does have a snake in there with tiny legs, and it was already such a bizarre movie that I was like, was something spiked? What the fuck are we watching? So yeah, I
Yeah,
have seen a legged snake and I did
I
not care for it.
I have never seen The Good Dinosaur, but I have definitely felt like I was on drugs. So that's relatable. Relatable, you
Good.
guys.
Good.
Today we're talking about a movie that it's not a Shudder exclusive slash original. It's not even a new movie. It came out all the way back in 1992. But it did actually just get added to the Shudder vault as of the 1st of July. What are we watching, Michelle? What do we watch?
Well, I and you also watched Doctor Giggles from 1992.
Yeah,
Doctor
Doctor
Giggles.
Giggles, 1992. Quick story as to how we landed on this. I also told it, I believe, in the previous episode, but if you're here for the first time, here's how it happened. In the first year of our podcast, we decided we were going to do a new episode of the show every day in October. I stole the idea from my buddy Jack and his friend Leanne, who had a podcast at the time called Huntsville Home Video, where they did a new episode every day for the month of October. And he said, yeah, go ahead, do that. I don't care. All I ask is that one of these days you do an episode about Dr. Flippin' Giggles. And then I found out that Dr. Giggles was dropping on Shudder, and I said, it's about time that that favor came due. And so we watched Dr. Giggles. Michelle, had you seen Dr. Giggles before we watched it for this show?
I had indeed, and I decided if I was a serial killer, this is who I would be.
That's right. I believe I talked you into watching this at some point a while back. And
Yep.
I say talked her into watching it because here's the thing. I was absolutely 100% sure that I had seen this film before. And then we sat down to watch it for this episode. And I'm pretty sure I've never seen this film before I sat down to watch it for this episode. And so we're here talking about Dr. Gigs. That's my nickname for him. I just, we're like that. Dr. Gigs. D
Dr.
Gigs.
Gigs.
D Gigs,
Evan.
that's his name. E Gigs. Yeah, that's his name. Evan Gigs. Uh,
Rough.
uh, Dr. Giggles, 1992 slasher movie. Uh, what's the plot summary, Michelle? What did we?
Yeah,
Oh,
the plot summary is a madman who believes he's a doctor comes to the town where his crazy father was killed. We're just gonna leave it at that.
yeah. That's it. Yeah, and then it's late. Well, it's early '90s, but it's that late '80s, early '90s slasher vibe. Do you want to give us? Man, we just dove right into this. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you. We appreciate you joining us. Let's not stop the momentum. Michelle, give us your spoiler-free thoughts on Doctor Giggles.
I don't know how to sum up how I feel about this movie. Um, here's it's so bad it's good. And I do mean that in a good way. I coerced my husband into watching it with me, because I had seen it the one time before. He threatened divorce afterwards, so I guess he did not get as much of a kick out of it as I did. Although he laughed through a bunch of it, but I think it was like a "Oh my God, why are you doing this to me?" kind of laughter, and we're gonna have to have some couples therapy to get over the amount of betrayal that he feels. But it's like an absurd plot but well acted. I fucking love puns. So even though I spent a good time or a good portion of this movie groaning at everything he said, I also felt like it was payback for all of the puns that I drop all the time. I was going to start my review with a ton of puns, but by the end of the movie, all my puns had been taken. I was going to take a stab at it anyway. I thought they'd really kill. Um, but I didn't do that, thank God. So, you know what? I I'm probably never gonna watch it again. I'm gonna go with a 2 out of 5. I've now watched it twice for the show. You're welcome.
2 skulls out of 5 for Michelle on Doctor Giggles.
Yeah.
Do
Do you
you
want to hit us with your spoiler-free thoughts, JD?
yeah, I suppose I could do that. This movie is
Cool.
honestly kind of frustrating in a couple of ways. Like I get the humor of it, right? I like the movie entirely knows what it's doing. It's doing it all on purpose, and it does have a certain charm. I can definitely see like if I had seen this in 92 as a 12-year-old, this probably would have been my favorite movie because it is. It's dumb fun, it's ridiculous. It's not so crazy gory that my parents probably would have let it slide under the radar, that sort of thing. But also, and this is gonna be I don't know, maybe weird to like there are moments in this where I'm just like, if they had gotten off this stupid Doctor Giggles gimmick and actually like played this with a little bit of attitude, like this could have been a pretty serious, like not too bad slasher, like legitimately like serious slasher movie. A couple of things in particular that happened that I was just like, oh my God, like you could have really done something with that. But overall, yeah, it was all right. I'm glad I did finally see it after spending all these years thinking I had seen it. I'm probably a little bit more positive than you on it. I'm going 3 skulls on this one. It was worth watching once, but especially if you like that ridiculous late '80s, early '90s horror comedy slasher thing.
Sweet. So I gave it 2, you gave it 3. That makes it 2.5 human skulls out of 5. Well, should we dive into spoiler territory?
Yeah, I suppose we could do that. Look, guys, we're kind of careening through this episode because JD doesn't know how to manage time, and he's late with starting, and that means he's got. Look, you
I
didn't need to.
don't know that we're careening. I just don't know what else we
I,
would have to say beforehand.
it's probably all
Are we in the
happening.
therapy portion? Is
Yeah,
this therapy
it's
portion?
probably
Okay.
all happening in my head where I feel like I'm caught between one thing and another. And so it feels like
And how
everything
does that
has to
make you
go really
feel?
fast. It sucks, Michelle. I am
Okay.
not a person who likes to be busy. I like to
Oh,
be
I love
very
it.
relaxed. I like to live my life at a leisurely pace. El Tortuga. That's me. But
The
here we are.
tortoise?
Yes, El Tortuga.
Wouldn't
Leisurely
it be La
pace.
Tortuga? Oh,
I don't
okay.
know,
El
man.
Tortuga?
I'm not a
La Tortuga.
Spaniard.
That's fair. I I do not have to rush. I got an
Anyway,
hour and
no.
18 minutes until I have to be at the fairgrounds to see Young Gravy tonight.
Oh my
And then I'm
God.
watching Ludacris tomorrow, and I am so excited. So I got time. We want to do therapy for an hour.
No, it's okay. I'm feeling much better. I'm feeling.
I guess
Anyway,
you just
we're
need to
here to.
voice it. Because I'm like, we're
No,
8 minutes in. This is not fast.
I've been on the go all afternoon, and I literally like we finished the movie. We actually connected this call as the movie was finishing. I'm gonna have just enough time to do this episode, and then I gotta rush out and host a live trivia event. Then I gotta come home and make
Fun.
dinner, and then I gotta go to sleep because I gotta work. Anyway, let's talk about Doctor Giggles. This is the spoilers section. If you don't want it to be spoiled for you before you get a chance to see it, go see it and then come back. Michelle,
Yeah.
summarize this movie for the good people.
Oh, okay, let's give it
That's
a
an
go.
order, woman.
Well,
Oh,
geez,
well.
whoa,
Wow.
whoa.
I, where,
No one calls me woman. That's the
where's,
most insultiest
where,
insult.
where did that come from? Holy shit.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to
Okay,
lay down.
so you just go lay down. Think about what you've done. Okay, so Dr. Giggles, he's a doctor. Unfortunately, he's not a doctor of psychiatry, or else JD and I might have gone into this episode feeling a little bit more positive. But he is a general doctor, a family medicine doctor. He knows all of the doctor things, yet he's also a surgeon. What? You mean that he's diagnosing and he's surgerying people? I didn't know that was allowed. Wow. And then he's also like a dentist and a nutritionist. He's just very he's a genius. And Dr. Google Dr. Google Dr. Giggles is such a genius that it drove him fucking crazy. Now he's killing people. So he has a troubled past. His father, or his mom died, and then his dad sewed him into his mother's body. And then he came popping out like a second birth. And then his dad was killed by the police. And now Dr. Giggles is mad because the police killed his father. Welcome to 2024. This movie was well ahead of its time. Too dark? Sorry. Anyway, I used to have a cop friend who did not like my cop jokes, and that's why I used to have a cop friend. Anyway, so what was I saying? He finds this teenage girl who has the same heart condition that his mom had. And so he's like, well, now I guess I have to be infatuated with her. And so he decides he's going to do surgery on her. And I don't know if he was actually trying to cure her or if he's just insane. I don't know. He's a madman. You can't explain madmen. What you also can't explain is his fucking puns. You know, this dude just sat in the asylum before he broke out with a notebook full of these puns he would say before he killed people, and then also like the other half of his notebook was his open mic comedy routines. Because I've definitely met this guy or similar guys at all the open mics I've ever done, where it's like you don't have to laugh at your own joke. We'll laugh if it's funny. It's okay, but no, he's a giggler. Also, I'm sorry if anybody can hear my dog. My husband just came home, and both of us, she and I, get very excited when he does because we never know if the time that he leaves will be the last time that we see him. So she's currently letting me know, like, hey, don't worry, we don't have to go through this alone anymore. And I'm like, thank God, thank you, Elephant, for letting me know. My dog's name is Elephant. That's a story. She's a tiny little white dog named Elephant. Yeah, so who's not a tiny little white dog named Elephant? Dr. Giggles. Anyway, at the end, he gets burned. You could say that scene was fire. And then it ends pretty abruptly. There's not a whole the girl gets her new heart, and that's pretty good for her. There's also some teenage stuff. The kills we'll get into because the kills are actually pretty fucking rad. So good kills, terrible puns, but I love terrible puns. Dr. Giggles, everybody, Dr. Giggles coming to the
Dr.
stage, Dr. Giggles.
Gigs. Ladies and gentlemen,
Yep,
the
Dr.
comedy
Giggles.
stylings of Dr. Evan Giggles. Let's hear it for him, ladies.
I can't do it. I can't do his giggle. I can't do it. Yeah, yeah. The subtitles immediately said his name was Evan.
Yeah.
So, and that's very funny.
There-
John is the one who pointed that out because he's like, the subtitles keep calling Dr. Giggles Evan. I think his name is Evan. I was like, that might be why he's mad.
There's a wonderful moment
I
in
have
the
lots of Evan
subtitles,
friends. Sorry.
also about halfway through the movie, where there's a sequence where somebody's in a spooky house, and he hears like a rattling in a closet or something behind him, and he turns around to see what it is, but they give it away in the subtitles because the subtitles say ironing board rattling, and it's like, come on, man, you just told us what was in the closet. That's anyway.
That's why I
Dr.
don't watch
Gigs.
movies that I genuinely want to be scared by with subtitles. I have to go back because I'm like, it's gonna tell me. It's gonna be like alien making sound. Oh, thanks. Cool. Yep.
Yeah, this is like you could tell definitely that they watched a couple Friday or rather Nightmare on Elm Street films and they were like, "Oh, yeah, a quippin' killer. That's where the money is. This dude's got to have quips. He's got to have puns. They all got to be about being a doctor." I would say a solid 80% of all of Dr. Evan Randall Giggles's lines are like, there was a moment about 20 minutes in where I'm like, is every single line he delivers gonna be a pun? Like, every single line is gonna be a zinger. Like, that's just like, he's just gonna be quipping the whole time, and it's not quite that. But I would wait. Like I said, I bet 4 out of 5 lines are weird quippy shit, and it's just, it does at one point get to be like, all right, I think I've had my fill of the Doctor quips. What was your favorite of the Doctor quips, Michelle?
Um, I think the very opening of he should have kept his hands to himself just because it's so bad.
Yes!
And for those who didn't watch the movie, it's this nurse who feels hands on her shoulders and she's like, "Oh my God, stop it." And then the hands keep feeling her up and then she turns around and it's Dr. Giggles holding the hands of her boyfriend and she says or he says he should have kept his hands to himself and it just sets you up for like this dude was just in the hallway being like, okay, think of like what's going to be the best one? What's going to get the best response? Okay, need a hand? No, that one's not right. Okay, should have kept it. Oh, okay, so I'll grope her with her dead boyfriend. Oh, and that's horrifying. Okay, Dr. Giggles, you got this. Deep breath. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's go. He was just standing that hallway talking to himself for a while before he's like, "This is the one. This is it. I hope they were having an affair together because otherwise she's just going to be really creeped out no matter what. I'm not going to get my chance to say the pun." Yeah, I like the opening. What's your favorite?
That one is really good. I I'll be honest, I didn't really prepare a favorite. I just wanted to ask you that question because you love puns so much.
I
But yeah,
do.
that one is really strong. He should have kept his hands to himself. Oh my
There
god.
are some really good ones around the time that the girl is on the operating table. Like I know you might be feeling nervous, but when you awake, you'll have a change of heart. The
Yeah,
heart
yeah.
transplant surgery. That one's really good. He
Good thing I
throws a
make house
heart at
calls.
at a cop and yeah, and says, "Have a heart." There's just it's so dumb, but it's so good.
It's
This
just
is why I like the one Batman that
ridiculous.
nobody likes with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's a good one, Batman and Robin. Because nice to meet you. See, it's great.
Oh
I love
god.
puns. They're genius.
You also, however, mentioned the kills in this, and
Yeah.
they
Ooh.
are gnarly. Like, I guess it is kind of tame for late 80s, early 90s effects. You're getting into that era where people are like, okay, we've probably gone a little too far. We got to tighten the reins a little bit here. So you don't see a lot of stuff like as it's happening. You see a lot of like the aftermath of what's happened and that sort of thing. But I thought the effects were really good. One of them that is probably my favorite that you do get to see happening is when he shoves that thing up that lady's nose. That's one
Yep.
of
That's the
oh,
one.
that's
I
woo,
felt that. I felt the tickle in my
yeah,
nose.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you would say
Oh
that was
God.
the one that really got you as well.
Yeah, that one, it's not like a gory movie. That one isn't even really gory. It's more the implication of all the things that he's doing that is more uncomfortable. Like the forced feeding with a tube thing really is like
Yeah.
one of my things because of Requiem for a Dream. I have many thoughts about that movie. It kind of traumatized me.
Also, I
So
have
I have
a
always had a thing about that. And ugh,
yeah, and I have a
ugh.
really good imagination, and now I'm stuck with the imagining the feeling of a roto rooter going off inside my guts. That's fucking terrifying.
I've
Jesus.
met some guys like that. Am I right?
You're not
You ever
wrong,
meet a guy who
Michelle. You're
roto
not
rootered
wrong.
you? I love
So,
the idea of roto rootering becoming a sexual euphemism, and I'm going to start
uh,
using that.
that's
I'm going to
I
message your
mean
friend after this and ask if she
that's definitely
how
one
her
way
date
some
went.
people do it. Yes, you're not
Yeah,
wrong.
they do roto rooter. Sometimes it's just
uh
fun to say roto rooter.
but and that's
Yes.
kind of what I
Oh,
was talking about is
hmm
like some of the kills here, at least again, not necessarily so much in the execution but conceptually, like these are things that if you had a little bit more of an effects budget and shifted the tone of this a little further, like this could have been a very aggressive, very gnarly type of slasher film. And I find it that combination of like you don't usually see this level of stupid quippiness combined with that level of real like creative gore and violence, and I thought that was really interesting.
At the end when he gets burned and now he's not really happy, even though he's still giggly, he becomes very sinister. And I think even that kind of adjustment throughout the rest of the movie, it does give you, I mean, it's Larry Drake. He's good. So if they had told him to shift it, that ending at least gives you a bit of a glimpse into what it would have been if it had been trying to be scary and trying to be upsetting as opposed to like a deliberate comedy. They had just gone horrifying with it. He makes puns, but he's really angry about it. Like he's forced to make puns. He doesn't like it either, but he's gotta. He's got a specific type of OCD. He's stuck doing this. He's not happy either. He just wants to murder, but he feels compelled to tell you the pun. And he's like grabbing a notebook and sighing heavily while he's looking. He's like, okay, I stabbed somebody. Here's a list of doctor related stab. Okay, we'll go with this one. Okay, I'll take a stab at it. Okay, there. Can I kill you now? Has this satisfied the demons? And he's got that OC. Oh, dude, he's got that OCD because his mother died from the heart disease, and he didn't make puns. So then that developed into OCD and these compulsions to now tell puns because when he didn't make the puns, his mother died. So he knows that bad things will happen to him. That's a legitimate OCD. Like that could be the we need a Doctor Giggles too. We need a remake. I'm on to something here.
Speaking of his mother dying, that does bring me to, I guess it's not a kill, but probably my single favorite scene in the
Same.
entire film for a number of reasons. And that is what will be now legendary in my life. This is how I knew for sure I had never seen this before. I would fucking remember this. But they're telling the backstory. They got the flashback, and they're in the morgue, and there's his dead mother on the table. And all of a sudden, he just cuts him. We learn that his father had sewn him up inside his dead mother to sneak him out of the house before it went nuts. And then the kid cuts his way out of her corpse and comes crawling out all covered in blood with just this maniacal fucking grin on his face. And I'm saying to myself, whose parents let this happen? But that kid was looking like he was having too much of a good time, and somebody might want to check in on him and see how his stability is here in 2024. Cause goddamn, that kid was great.
He only has two acting roles. One is young Evan in Doctor Giggles, and then he went on to be in Homeward Bound as Hal. I don't know who Hal was.
Well,
but apparently that's what you do. You crawl out of a dead corpse and then you're in a very upsetting and beloved movie.
I thought that kid just sold it. He was clearly having the time of his life, just being all creepy and covered in blood, crawling out of a special effects corpse. Like he was just that scene. I really, really, and again, one that with a little bit of a shift in tone, even with the exact same performance that kid gave, that could have been real creepy. Like real
I thought that was upsetting,
dark.
even in the context of the rest of the film. That stood us apart from the rest of the movie. Where I was like, this is dark.
Yeah, it's
this
like,
is
oh
not
my
funny.
God.
Yeah,
it's intense. So yeah, I think the movie definitely has its enjoyable moments. I feel like it was serving two masters a little bit too much some of the time, and almost could have been two completely different. Maybe an experiment where you do two movies and you do one where it's just ridiculous and then you do the other one. But I mean, nobody's gonna fund that kind of a project on this budget, so I don't know. It was fun. It's definitely one that this is one of those where, like, especially if you're talking to somebody who's seen quite a few things, and they're just like, I just want to see something I haven't seen before. Well, have you seen Doctor Giggles? It's worth a watch. I think one time, I think some people will have. I think the right people will have an absolute blast with it, and yeah, that's Doctor Giggles.
Yep, it certainly was. Uh, yep. See, I can't do it.
Larry
No.
Drake. I think even Larry Drake, just as a great actor, could have just shifted the tone on this a little bit and been real freaking terrifying. Like, I feel like he could have done some real impressive, real scary shit.
It's such a weird movie, but thanks, Jack, for having us watch it.
It is
Oh
also,
man.
again, for and I don't mean this in any kind of, it's just how it is. For those of us who were there, like, this is quintessential what we were just being flooded with at this time, right? Just this is in the wake of even, your more absurd Friday the 13th, like Jason Takes Manhattan, where things have just gotten silly, and Freddy has done his complete transition from legitimate sort of scary awful dude to just hilarious quipmeister in every one of the movies, right? This is in many ways, this is peak that era, and maybe the shark jump in a lot of ways as well. But I don't know. I had a good time with it.
Yeah. I don't have much more to say. I didn't think we were even going to get to a half hour with this because
Hey,
I
we're
did
gonna
not have
make it.
anything. You what?
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
you know what I think this movie is perfect for? Put this on one of your 30 days of horror movies in October lists, right? Like that's a perfect opportunity to watch a bunch of other stuff that you might not necessarily ever give a look at any other point in the year. That's what I would strongly recommend. Put this on one of your October lists sometime soon and check it out. Michelle,
You can definitely watch it.
it's definitely a movie you can see. What are we
It's
talking about next
definitely a
week?
movie. We're gonna go watch The Last Man on Earth. And The Last Man
Oh,
on Earth is
yes.
not also Dr. Giggles, so thank
Yes.
God for that.
So we've been doing this holidays thing all year long, doing a bonus episode each month that's centered around a holiday. And I said, we can't do Independence Day, not for any other reason than just it's way too obvious in July. And so I thought it would be super funny if, in honor of World Population Day, we went back and enjoyed a Vincent Price classic called The Last Man on Earth. Taking
And I'm glad you
Michelle.
reminded me why we're doing this movie because I could not
Right,
remember.
taking Michelle way back so far as her perspective is concerned. Still definitely a little before my time as well. And another, like, I've seen a lot of Vincent Price films. I have never seen this one. I've seen the Omega Man. I've seen the Will Smith I Am Legend. I have never seen the OG Vincent Price Last Man on Earth. Did you know, Michelle, this is the original film adaptation of I Am Legend?
Yes,
Okay.
because I love the I Am Legend book and the Will Smith movie, and we're getting a sequel, I think next year, finally. So I had kind of looked into the history of it because I have opinions about book
Have
versus
you
movie.
have you ever
Um,
seen the Omega Man?
no, no, I have not. Maybe I'll have to watch that before next week too, though.
Well, I mean, not necessarily.
Yeah,
Anyway,
for
uh,
the sake of the show, it might be time to finally delve into it.
so
But I
that's what we're
do love Vincent Price, so I'm excited for that
legend.
reason. He was Professor Ratigan in The Great Mouse Detective, which is one of the most underrated children's film of all time.
Vincent Price was a lot of legendary things. That
Yeah,
dude
but
and
he was
Christopher Lee
Ratigan.
and Peter Cushing. Yeah, wow, what a team. Anyway,
That's one of my favorite movies. It's so
uh,
good.
we're also working on stuff for Spooktober ourselves. We got a lot of stuff going on here. We're sponsoring Time Bomb Pro Wrestling coming up later this month. We may or may not be working on some even bigger projects to be going on in our neck of the woods here in the Fargo-Moorhead area. We're just rocking and rolling, keeping it going here. We watch Shudder. Man, it's definitely time to wrap this episode up when I'm starting to talk in these ridiculous, like, small town radio metaphors. Michelle, help me.
I don't know if either of us are the right person to help the other one. We might need a professional, like maybe a doctor of psychiatry, Doctor Giggles,
Do
if you
they,
will.
Dr. Evan Randall Giggles?
Yeah, I think, oh God, I hope there are no doctors out there who actually have the last name Giggles. Because they just probably, it's such a bummer because they hear this reference all the time, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So.
probably.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's all. I clearly also do not have much more to add. I'm in thought mode, which THOT, that hottie over there, gonna go see Young Gravy. I'm gonna be way too old to be at it, but I'm stoked. I'm gonna have my butt out. It's gonna be a good time. I'm
What
wearing fishnets.
is this person's name is Young Gravy?
Yes. Young Gravy. My favorite song
That
by him is Whole Foods. The chorus is all the freaky girls shop at Whole Foods. Whole Foods, if you're freaky, baby, you can come too. Come too. Gravy got a new I'm on the spot, so I forgot it. And I'm also hoping that his friend BB No Money makes a surprise appearance. BB No Money is known for many songs, including one of my favorites, "Submissive and Breedable." And that's the song he did with the two guys from Smosh about how they like to be submissive to their women. And it's just a music video of them getting like spanked and stuff, and it's very good. Submissive and breedable. BDSM. But I'm gonna get you hooked on BB No Money, I promise. And Young Gravy. Yeah. His name is spelled BBNO and a dollar sign. BB No Money. I'm sorry.
I was
I
just
like
gonna sit
good
here
and
and
bad
see how
music.
long it used to be like, Michelle, you lost me a long time. I don't know what any of these things mean.
I'm
All I
sending you
know
a
is
music video.
there's.
Like I literally sent you a music video, so
I'm
you're gonna
sure
have to
you
watch that and
did.
give me your thoughts.
Here's what I know is I am very old.
Same.
Some
And I'm going to a guy named Young Gravy, where
Young
he spells it
Gravy that
YUNG.
that just
Yeah,
I don't know that sounds either like it's like it's like it's intended to be a double entendre, but I don't know how.
absolutely. Absolutely. That baby making gravy. That's how. Oh, and now I'm hungry for gravy.
Oh God,
Gotta get some
no,
gravy.
no! You can't say
I didn't
that
mean it as
after.
an
Oh
entendre.
God,
I just like
please,
potatoes.
no! Say goodnight, Michelle.
Good night, Michelle.
For more horror content, visit WeWatchShutter.com, where you'll find our world-famous, patent-pending Ghoul blog and Squelch files, as well as a schedule of upcoming episodes. Find us on social media at WeWatchShutter on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I guess Twitter if you're still doing that for whatever reason. You can email us. mail@WeWatchShutter.com is the address. mail@WeWatchShutter.com. You can even call and leave us a voicemail, 701-566-9510. No, really. 701-566-9510. Give it a shot. See what happens. We Watch Shudder is a production of Rat Factory Media.